The silence of space fractured like tempered glass when the first alien vessels materialized near Jupiter. Their crystalline hulls caught the distant sunlight, refracting impossible geometries that defied human understanding. Each ship seemed to shimmer between solid matter and pure energy, a technological marvel that made Earth's most advanced spacecraft look like primitive toys. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood perfectly still on the bridge of the experimental research vessel Horizon, her eyes locked on the holographic display. Years of military training and scientific research had prepared her for many scenarios, but nothing could have anticipated this moment. The alien ships moved with a grace that suggested consciousness beyond mechanical navigation, their formations shifting like living organisms against the black backdrop of space. The first transmission came 3 minutes after their appearance. It wasn't a sound in the traditional sense, but a direct neural impression that translated simultaneously across every communication network on Earth. Cold, precise, uncompromising. Inhabitants of the third planet, the message read, "Your civilization has been evaluated. Surrender is the only rational response." Global communication networks erupted into chaos. Military command centers across continents shifted into high alert. Governments that had been bitter rivals mere hours ago now found themselves united by a single terrifying reality. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and the first contact was anything but friendly. In the underground research facility beneath the Andes Mountains, Dr. Catherine Winters watched the alien transmission with a mixture of scientific fascination and growing dread. Her team had spent decades developing theoretical models for potential extraterrestrial encounters, but their most extreme scenarios paled in comparison to the reality now unfolding. "They're not requesting dialogue," she muttered to her senior research assistant. "They're issuing an ultimatum." The alien vessels began a methodical scan of the solar system. Their technology was so advanced that traditional Earth-based sensors could barely register their presence. They moved with a calculated precision that suggested centuries, if not millennia, of interstellar conquest. On the horizon, Captain Rodriguez began a rapid series of calculations. The alien ship's energy signatures defied every known principle of physics. Their propulsion systems seemed to manipulate space-time itself, creating corridors of movement that shouldn't be possible according to current scientific understanding. "Communications, prepare a standard diplomatic response," she ordered, her voice calm despite the tension crackling through the bridge. "But be ready for anything." The standard response was a carefully crafted message of peaceful communication, developed through decades of diplomatic protocol and sinological research. It represented humanity's best attempt at establishing a non-threatening first contact. The aliens ignored it completely. Instead, a second transmission arrived. This one was more detailed, almost clinical in its assessment. Earth had been categorized, humanity had been measured, and humanity had been found wanting. "Your technological development is insufficient," the message stated. "Your planetary resources will be appropriated. Resistance is mathematically improbable." Dr. Winters and her team worked frantically, analyzing every microsecond of the transmission. The language wasn't just a communication. It was a complex mathematical algorithm that seemed designed to simultaneously communicate and analyze the recipient's response. Governments began emergency sessions. Military leaders scrambled to understand the unprecedented threat. But amid the global panic, something else was stirring. A deep, fundamental human response that had defined the species throughout its history. Determination. Captain Rodriguez understood this better than most. The Horizon wasn't just a research vessel. It was the culmination of decades of secret research, a prototype that represented humanity's most advanced technological thinking. While the aliens saw a primitive species ready for conquest, she saw something else entirely. An opportunity. "Prepare full sensor analysis," she commanded her bridge crew. "I want to know everything about these ships. Every energy fluctuation, every molecular vibration. If there's a weakness, we'll find it." The alien fleet continued its methodical approach, completely confident in their technological superiority. They had conquered countless civilizations across multiple star systems. To them, Earth was just another name on a long list of subjugated worlds. They had no idea what was coming. The underground research facility beneath the Andes Mountains was more than a laboratory. It was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a testament to human innovation, hidden from both public view and alien detection. Dr. Catherine Winters moved between holographic displays, her fingers dancing across quantum-sensitive interfaces. Decades of seemingly impractical research had converged at this moment. The facility housed technologies so advanced they bordered on the miraculous. Developments that had been slowly, meticulously crafted in absolute secrecy. "We've been preparing for this moment our entire careers," she said to her lead engineer, Dr. Marcus Chen, who was recalibrating a complex quantum magnetic propulsion system. The room hummed with potential. Walls constructed from adaptive nanocomposite materials could shift molecular structures in milliseconds, rendering traditional scanning technologies useless. Every surface, every piece of equipment represented a breakthrough that conventional scientific communities would have dismissed as impossible. Dr. Chen's latest project sat at the center of the facility, a prototype spacecraft that defied every known principle of engineering. Its hull was composed of metamaterials that could bend light, absorb energy, and redistribute molecular stress in ways that seemed to violate the fundamental laws of physics. "The aliens think we're primitive," Chen muttered, adjusting a quantum entanglement module. "They have no concept of what we've been developing." The facility's true purpose had been hidden for decades. While global space programs showed modest developments, this secret project had been pushing the boundaries of human technological understanding. Funding came from a complex network of international research initiatives, each contribution carefully masked to prevent any single government from claiming full credit. Dr. Winters pulled up a comprehensive analysis of the alien transmission. Unlike most researchers who saw only threat, she saw an unprecedented opportunity for scientific understanding. Each aspect of the alien communication was a puzzle, a complex mathematical language that seemed to exist simultaneously as communication and computational process. "Look at this," she called to Chen, highlighting a specific energy signature. "Their communication isn't just a message. It's a continuous computational process. They're analyzing us even as they communicate." The prototype spacecraft, unofficially nicknamed the Horizon's Promise, represented the pinnacle of human technological innovation. Its quantum magnetic propulsion system could theoretically manipulate space-time itself. Traditional rocket technology seemed primitive by comparison. This wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a mobile research platform capable of generating its own protective field, analyzing external environments at a molecular level, and responding to threats in microseconds. Dr. Chen's team had solved problems that had stumped scientific communities for generations. The ship's adaptive nanocomposite armor could redistribute kinetic and energy-based attacks, essentially making traditional weapons obsolete. Its communication systems used quantum entanglement to create instantaneous, undetectable communication channels that could pass through virtually any known form of interference. "We're not just building a ship," Shen explained to a young researcher watching the final calibrations. "We're creating a new paradigm of technological understanding." The facility's security was unprecedented. Multiple layers of quantum encryption, molecular camouflage, and adaptive defense systems made the location undetectable by any known scanning technology. Even if the alien fleet attempted a comprehensive planetary scan, this facility would remain invisible. Dr. Winters reviewed the final system checks. Years of research, billions in funding, and the collective genius of humanity's most brilliant minds had converged at this moment. The prototype wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a statement of human potential. Quantum magnetic alignment at 97.3%. A computer system announced. Nanocomposite adaptive response systems fully operational. Outside the facility, the world remained unaware of the technological marvel being prepared. Governments scrambled, militaries mobilized, but the real hope for human survival was being quietly refined in this hidden laboratory. Dr. Chen looked at Dr. Winters, a spark of determination in his eyes. "They think we're going to surrender," he said. "They have no idea what's coming." The Horizon's promise sat ready, a testament to human creativity, scientific innovation, and an unbreakable spirit of exploration. More than a spacecraft, it was humanity's response to an impossible challenge. A response that would change everything. The first engagement began with a silence more terrifying than any sound. Captain Alina Rodriguez watched the alien assault formation materialize on her holographic display. The Horizon's promise moved with a fluidity that defied traditional spacecraft mechanics. Where other vessels would pivot and thrust, this prototype seemed to fold space around itself, creating impossible trajectories that no standard targeting system could predict. "Incoming wave," her tactical officer announced, his voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. Multiple energy signatures converging. The Hexarchon attack was a masterpiece of calculated destruction. Crystalline ships moved in perfect synchronization, their weapons generating fields of energy that could vaporize most known spacecraft in microseconds. They had conquered hundreds of civilizations, reducing entire planetary defenses to scattered debris. They had never encountered humanity. Rodriguez's hands moved across the quantum interactive control interface. The ship responded not just to her physical inputs, but to the complex neural link that allowed near-instantaneous tactical processing. Years of simulation training, advanced neural network integration, and cutting-edge human adaptability converged in this moment. "Defensive pattern Omega," she commanded. The words were almost unnecessary. The ship was already responding, its nano-composite hull beginning to shift and realign before the alien weapons could establish a targeting lock. The first wave of Hexarchon energy attacks struck where the Horizon's promise should have been. Instead, the ship had already manipulated its position, using a combination of quantum displacement and adaptive camouflage that made it appear to be in multiple locations simultaneously. Dr. Marcus Chen's voice came through the communication system. "Quantum entanglement systems at maximum efficiency. They can't get a consistent read on our energy signature." The alien fleet's initial confidence began to waver. Their targeting systems, which had systematically dismantled countless planetary defenses, found no consistent point of contact. The Horizon's promise moved like liquid mercury, each movement a complex mathematical equation that rewrote the rules of space combat. Rodriguez understood something the aliens did not. Combat was more than technological superiority. It was about adaptation, creativity, and the ability to transform limitations into strengths. "Prepare quantum disruptive response," she ordered. The ship's weapon systems were unlike anything in known galactic technology. Where traditional weapons sought to destroy through brute force, these systems targeted the fundamental quantum structures that held alien technology together. The first quantum disruptive missile launched. It didn't move through space so much as it negotiated with the fabric of space-time itself. The Hexarchon ships found their advanced shield systems suddenly destabilizing, complex energy networks collapsing from within. One by one, alien vessels began to experience catastrophic system failures. Not through overwhelming force, but through a precise, almost surgical deconstruction of their technological foundations. "They're trying to adapt," her systems officer reported. "But our computational models are evolving faster than their defensive algorithms." It wasn't just a battle. It was a real-time demonstration of human innovative potential. The Hexarchon communication channels erupted in what could only be described as technological confusion. Their perfectly calculated attack formations began to break down. Ships that had moved with absolute precision now found themselves struggling to maintain cohesion. Rodriguez allowed herself the briefest moment of satisfaction. Humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was rewriting the fundamental understanding of technological warfare. "Continue quantum disruption pattern," she commanded. "Target their primary communication networks." Each strike was a complex dance of probability and precision. The Horizon's promise didn't just respond to the alien attacks. It anticipated them, manipulated them, transformed them. The first engagement lasted less than 17 minutes. When it was over, nearly a third of the initial Karkan assault fleet had been completely disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. Each vessel was a puzzle now, its advanced technologies reduced to a state of quantum uncertainty. A message was being sent, not just of resistance, but of something far more profound. Humanity was here, and humanity was nothing like what the galaxy expected. The news traveled faster than light through the intricate communication networks that connected civilizations across the galaxy. What began as a routine subjugation had transformed into something unprecedented, a complete disruption of the established galactic order. On a distant research station orbiting the Kepler Nebula, a group of scientists from the Zorn Collaborative watched the initial reports with growing disbelief. The Exarchon Collective had been a constant in galactic politics for millennia, a force so dominant that most civilizations simply surrendered upon first contact. "Impossible," muttered Dr. Krelax, his four-fingered hands manipulating holographic displays. "No emerging species has ever mounted such a response." The communication logs were unlike anything in recorded galactic history. The human vessel had not just defended itself, it had systematically dismantled an advanced attack force using methods that defied conventional understanding of combat and technological interaction. Across multiple star systems, subjugated species began to pay attention. The Vornath resistance, long crushed under the Exarchon's technological supremacy, analyzed every millisecond of the engagement. The humans had done something no one had accomplished in generations. They had exposed vulnerabilities in the Exarchon's seemingly invincible technological infrastructure. On Earth, the global reaction was a complex mixture of terror and unexpected pride. News networks struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what had occurred. Military analysts reviewed the engagement with a combination of scientific fascination and strategic assessment. Dr. Catherine Winters gave an emergency briefing to a select group of international leaders. The holographic display showcased the quantum-level interactions that had disabled the alien ships. "This isn't just a military victory," she explained, her voice steady and precise. "This is a fundamental reimagining of technological interaction. The Horizon's promise didn't defeat the Karkan through traditional warfare. It essentially spoke a language of technology they couldn't understand." The diplomatic channels erupted into a frenzy of communication. The Galactic Council, a loosely organized network of established civilizations, convened an emergency session. Centuries of established protocols were being challenged by a species they had categorized as technologically infantile. Ambassador Lyra Solarin, Earth's most experienced diplomatic representative, found herself at the center of an unprecedented situation. The standard first contact protocols had been completely obliterated. "They attempted to subjugate us," she told the assembled galactic representatives. "Instead, they've opened a dialogue unlike any in recorded history." The Exarchon's communication networks began to show signs of internal fracture. Their perfectly managed information systems, which had maintained their collective dominance for millennia, started to experience unprecedented disruptions. On a strategic monitoring station deep within Karkan territory, senior leadership began an urgent analysis. The human engagement wasn't just a military anomaly. It represented a fundamental threat to their entire philosophical and technological paradigm. "They manipulated quantum states in ways our systems cannot predict," a senior analyst reported. "Our technological models are insufficient to comprehend their approach." The ripple effects spread across multiple star systems. Species that had been silent under Karkan control for generations began to show signs of unexpected hope. If a seemingly primitive species could mount such a response, what did that mean for other subjugated civilizations? Dr. Marcus Chen, watching from the hidden research facility, understood the deeper implications. This wasn't just a military engagement. It was a demonstration of human potential, a declaration that technological innovation was limited only by imagination and collective effort. "We didn't just defend ourselves," he told Dr. Winters. "We just rewrote the entire understanding of technological interaction." The galactic communication networks continued to buzz with analysis, speculation, and an underlying current of something unprecedented: respect. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The quantum breakthrough emerged from the most unexpected place: a convergence of theoretical physics, advanced computational modeling, and pure human creativity. Dr. Marcus Chen stood before a holographic display that pulsed with impossible mathematical equations. The research facility beneath the Andes Mountains had become something more than a laboratory. It was the crucible of humanity's most radical technological innovation. "We're not just developing a weapon," he explained to his core research team. "We're creating a new language of technological interaction." The quantum-entangled weapon system represented a complete reimagining of space combat. Traditional weapons sought to destroy through brute force. This new system would engage at a fundamental level of reality, manipulating the very quantum states that held matter and energy together. Captain Elena Rodriguez received the initial briefing, her tactical mind already processing the potential applications. The holographic display showed multiple potential attack vectors that seemed to defy conventional understanding of space and time. "Each weapon is essentially a computational problem," Dr. Chen explained. "We're not targeting ships. We're solving complex quantum equations that happen to exist within the structure of enemy technology." The first test of the quantum-entangled system was carefully controlled. A specialized drone, constructed from the same adaptive nano-composite materials as the Horizon's Promise, would serve as the initial platform. The research team worked with a combination of mathematical precision and almost artistic creativity. In the test chamber, reality itself seemed to bend. The drone didn't move through space so much as it negotiated with the fundamental fabric of space-time. Its quantum signature became a complex algorithm that could simultaneously exist in multiple states. Traditional targeting systems would find it impossible to lock onto a consistent position. "Quantum state stabilization at 98.7%, a computer system announced. The numbers meant little to most observers, but to the research team, it was a moment of near-religious significance. Dr. Catherine Winters watched the results with a mixture of scientific excitement and philosophical wonder. Humanity had always been defined by its ability to look beyond current limitations. This was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. The X-Archon had conquered civilizations by presenting technological superiority as an insurmountable barrier. Humanity was demonstrating that technology was a language, and languages could be learned, interpreted, and ultimately transformed. Each quantum-entangled weapon became a complex mathematical poem. It could strike multiple points in space simultaneously, its very existence a challenge to traditional understanding of combat and technological interaction. "We're not just developing a defense," Dr. Chen muttered, reviewing the test results. "We're creating an entirely new paradigm of technological engagement." The implications stretched far beyond military application. The quantum entanglement system represented a fundamental breakthrough in understanding how matter, energy, and information could interact. Theoretical physicists would be analyzing these results for generations. Captain Rodriguez began integrating the new technology into the Horizon's Promise's combat systems. The ship was no longer just a spacecraft. It was a mobile research platform that could analyze and respond to threats at a quantum level. "Prepare for full system integration," she commanded her bridge crew. The neural link interfaces responded with a fluidity that blurred the line between human intention and technological response. The first full-scale test would be their true moment of revelation. The X-Archon believed they understood technological superiority. Humanity was about to prove that true innovation was about reimagining the very rules of engagement. Dr. Winters looked at her team, a sense of profound possibility filling the research facility. They weren't just preparing for a conflict. They were writing a new chapter in the story of technological understanding. "Ready," Dr. Chen announced, his finger hovering over the final activation sequence. The quantum-entangled weapon system came to life, a mathematical marvel that would change everything. The Hazarkan Collective's perfect technological edifice began to crumble from within. What had once been an unstoppable force of galactic conquest now found itself facing an enemy that operated outside every known principle of technological warfare. Each engagement with the human vessels revealed deeper vulnerabilities in systems that had remained unchallenged for millennia. Captain Elena Rodriguez guided the Horizon's Promise through a complex series of quantum-displaced maneuvers. The ship moved less like a traditional spacecraft and more like a living mathematical equation, simultaneously present and not present, a quantum paradox that defied the Hazarkan's most advanced tracking systems. "Targeting systems compromised," her tactical officer reported. The words were almost unnecessary. The holographic displays showed Hazarkan ships experiencing cascading system failures that spread like a technological infection. The first signs of internal fracture appeared in the Hazarkan's communication networks. Their perfectly structured collective began to show unprecedented weaknesses. Ships that had once moved with absolute precision now found themselves struggling to maintain formation, their advanced interconnected systems suddenly vulnerable to quantum disruption. Dr. Marcus Chen watched the engagement data streams from the research facility, his fingers tracing complex computational models. "It's not just about defeating their technology," he explained to his team. "We're demonstrating the fundamental limitations of their technological philosophy." Across multiple star systems, the engagement became more than a military conflict. It was a philosophical challenge to the Hazarkan's entire understanding of technological superiority. Their leadership convened emergency sessions, their communication channels buzzing with a new emotion they had rarely experienced: uncertainty. The human vessels moved with an unpredictability that challenged their most fundamental combat algorithms. "They are introducing computational variables we cannot resolve," a senior Hazarkan strategist reported. The statement carried a weight of profound implications. For a civilization that had built its entire existence on predictive technological superiority, unpredictability was a fatal flaw. The Horizon's Promise became more than a spacecraft. It was a living demonstration of human potential, a vessel that could adapt, learn, and transform in real time. Rodriguez understood something the Hazarkan did not. Technology was not just about power. It was about creativity, adaptation, and the ability to see beyond established limitations. "Prepare quantum disruptive sequence," she commanded. The words were almost a formality. The ship was already responding, its systems moving in complex patterns that seemed to negotiate with the very fabric of space and time. The engagement became a dance of mathematical complexity. Where Hazarkan ships sought to overwhelm through sheer technological might, the human vessels responded with a fluidity that made traditional combat models obsolete. Dr. Catherine Winters analyzed the real-time data streams. Each engagement was rewriting the fundamental understanding of technological interaction. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were teaching an entirely new approach to technological engagement. Subjugated civilizations across multiple star systems began to watch with growing hope. The seemingly invincible Hazarkan collective was showing its first genuine signs of vulnerability. "We're witnessing a fundamental transformation," Dr. Chen muttered, watching the engagement data. "Not just of military conflict, but of technological understanding." The Hazarkan fleets began to retreat, not in panic, but in a systematic withdrawal that spoke to their centuries of strategic thinking. Yet the retreat itself was an admission. Something fundamental had changed. Humanity had introduced a new variable into the galactic equation. On the bridge of the Horizon's Promise, Captain Rodriguez allowed herself the briefest moment of satisfaction. This wasn't just a victory. It was a declaration. A statement that technological potential was limited only by imagination and collective will. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, watching a new chapter of galactic history unfold. Humanity had arrived. and nothing would ever be the same. The diplomatic chambers of the Galactic Council buzzed with an energy unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations gathered to understand the unprecedented phenomenon that was humanity. Ambassador Lyra Solarin stood at the center of a holographic projection, her presentation a masterpiece of scientific diplomacy. Behind her, recordings of the Horizons Promises engagement played, a visual testament to human innovation that defied every established understanding of technological interaction. "We are not conquerors," she explained, her voice calm and precise. "We are problem solvers." The chamber represented a cross-section of galactic civilization, the crystalline representatives of the Zorn Collaborative, the energy-based consciousness of the Vornath Resistance, the silicon-based life forms from the Krulax consortiums, all watched with a mixture of fascination and growing respect. Dr. Catherine Winters accompanied the diplomatic team, her scientific expertise translating the complex technological innovations into comprehensible concepts. Each presentation was more than a military briefing. It was a philosophical discourse on the nature of technological potential. "Our approach is not about superiority," Dr. Winters explained to a panel of senior galactic researchers. "It's about understanding. Each technological challenge is an opportunity for collaborative solution." That Hexarchon Collective's fall had created a power vacuum that rippled across multiple star systems. Civilizations that had been subjugated for generations began to reassess their own potential. If a seemingly primitive species could challenge the most technologically advanced collective in the galaxy, what might they achieve? Dr. Marcus Chen presented the quantum entanglement research, transforming complex mathematical concepts into accessible insights. His presentation wasn't just a technical demonstration. It was an invitation to reimagine technological interaction. "Technology is a language," he told the assembled representatives, "and languages can be learned, interpreted, and transformed." The diplomatic engagement became a complex dance of scientific exchange. Where previous first contact scenarios had been marked by fear or conquest, humanity introduced a new paradigm of collaborative exploration. Ambassador Solarin navigated the complex political landscape with remarkable skill. She didn't present humanity as a superior civilization, but as a collaborative partner. Each diplomatic meeting became an opportunity for mutual understanding. The galactic representatives began to see beyond the initial military engagement. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had introduced an entirely new approach to technological and cultural interaction. Researchers from multiple civilizations requested access to human scientific research. The quantum entanglement technologies developed by Dr. Chen's team represented a fundamental breakthrough that could transform understanding across multiple scientific disciplines. "We're offering partnership," Ambassador Solarin explained, "not domination." The Vornath Resistance, long crushed under the Hexarchon's technological control, saw something unprecedented. Here was a species that had not just fought for its own freedom, but seemed genuinely interested in the freedom of others. Captain Elena Rodriguez became an unexpected symbol of this new approach. Her tactical presentations weren't just military strategies, they were demonstrations of human creativity and adaptive thinking. The diplomatic sessions revealed something profound. Humanity's strength wasn't in technological superiority, but in its ability to see challenges as opportunities for growth and understanding. Dr. Winters watched the diplomatic exchanges with a sense of profound possibility. This was more than a first contact scenario. It was the beginning of a new chapter in galactic civilization. "We are introducing a new variable," she told her research team. "Not just technologically, but philosophically." The holographic displays continued to show the remarkable engagements of the Horizons Promise, a vessel that was more than a spacecraft. It was a mobile research platform, a diplomatic tool, a symbol of human potential. As the diplomatic sessions continued, something remarkable became clear. Humanity wasn't just joining the galactic community. It was fundamentally transforming the understanding of what such a community could be. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with a new sense of possibility. The transformation was more profound than anyone could have anticipated. 6 months after the initial engagement, the galaxy looked fundamentally different. That Exarchon Collective had been systematically dismantled, not through brutal conquest, but through a complex process of technological liberation and collaborative reconstruction. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Horizon's Promise, watching as diplomatic vessels from dozens of liberated civilizations worked together to rebuild critical infrastructure. What had begun as a defensive action had become something far more significant, a galactic reset that challenged every existing principle of interstellar interaction. Dr. Marcus Chen's research facility had transformed into an international collaborative center. Scientists from previously subjugated civilizations worked side by side, their research transcending traditional boundaries of species, technology, and philosophical understanding. "We're not just rebuilding," Dr. Catherine Winters explained during a global broadcast. "We're reimagining what's possible." The liberated civilizations discovered something remarkable. The technological innovations humanity had demonstrated weren't just about military superiority. They were about problem-solving, adaptability, and a fundamental belief in collaborative potential. The Vornath resistance, once a fragmented collection of oppressed populations, now emerged as a key diplomatic partner. Their representatives spoke at the new Galactic Collaborative Council, describing humanity's approach as a philosophical revolution. Ambassador Lyra Solarin worked tirelessly, her diplomatic skills transforming potential conflicts into opportunities for mutual understanding. Each negotiation was a delicate dance of scientific exchange and cultural appreciation. The quantum entanglement technologies developed during the conflict began to show unprecedented applications. Medical researchers developed treatment protocols that could target cellular structures with mathematical precision. Environmental restoration teams created technologies that could repair ecological systems at a molecular level. "Technology is a language of possibility," Dr. Chen would often say, "and we're just beginning to learn how to speak it." The research facility beneath the Andes Mountains became a symbol of this new approach. Where once it had been a secret weapons development center, it now stood as an open research hub. Scientists from across the galaxy came to understand the human approach to innovation, not as a means of conquest, but as a path of collaborative discovery. Captain Rodriguez understood the deeper significance of their journey. This wasn't about defeating an enemy. It was about demonstrating a fundamentally different approach to existence. Liberated civilizations began to adopt elements of human technological and philosophical thinking. The rigid hierarchical structures that had defined galactic civilization for millennia began to dissolve. Collaborative problem-solving replaced competitive conquest. The Exarchon leadership, once considered invincible, found themselves participating in restorative justice programs. Their advanced technologies were carefully integrated into collaborative research initiatives, transforming potential threats into opportunities for growth. Dr. Winters presented a comprehensive analysis of the transformation. "We didn't defeat a civilization," she explained. "We demonstrated an alternative approach to technological and cultural interaction." The Horizon's Promise became more than a spacecraft. It was a mobile research platform, a diplomatic tool, a symbol of human potential. Its quantum adaptive systems were studied, celebrated, and gradually integrated into broader galactic technologies. Ambassador Solarin's diplomatic approach became a new model of interstellar communication. Instead of treaties built on threat and limitation, negotiations became opportunities for mutual understanding and collaborative potential. Global perspectives on Earth transformed. No longer seen as an isolated planetary civilization, humanity had become a key partner in a broader galactic community. The fear and isolation of the initial first contact had been replaced by a sense of collective possibility. "We are not alone," became more than a statement of scientific fact. It became a philosophy of collaborative potential. Dr. Chen looked out over the research facility, watching scientists from multiple species work together. The quantum entanglement technologies that had once been a defensive tool were now creating breakthroughs in communication, medical treatment, environmental restoration. Captain Rodriguez reflected on their journey. They had not just defended humanity. They had introduced a new way of thinking about existence itself. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with a new sense of possibility. Humanity had arrived, and everything had changed.